Heidi Eijnagan, Smelly Helen. We're with DEC, Food Safety and Sanitation. And I just want to say, first off, thank you, Robbie, for inviting us to come and speak about everybody's favorite topic of permitting. We're going to talk a little bit about when permits are needed, what they're needed for, what kind of permit might be needed, special permits that aren't necessarily covered by us, but we'll let you know like where to go to get those sort of things. And then we're going to touch a little bit on the new FSMA regulations. So first off, DEC, the Food Safety and Sanitation Program, is a statewide program. We're responsible for permitting food processors, retail food. We do grocery stores, schools, restaurants. We also do tattoo shops, pools, and fun stuff like that. We do not do the food service in the municipality of Anchorage. They have their own food safety and sanitation program. So for those of you that are from Anchorage, some of this stuff will not apply to you, and I encourage you to contact the municipality for those specifics. Otherwise, we are statewide. There's a list of our offices across the state. Melanie and I are out of this allotment office, and our area is the whole Kenai Peninsula. So first off, there are some products that if you sell, they are exempt without rules from permitting. So these are things like raw honey, herbs, microgreens, whole raw agricultural products, popcorn, and cotton candy. It's a varied list. And then we move into the cottage food exemptions. This is when sometimes things are exempt from permitting. And this is where if your vendors are not whole agricultural product vendors, they're probably selling under the cottage food exemptions. So the cottage food exemptions were developed for the sale of non-potentially hazardous foods. So for us, that means there are certain foods that because of either their pH or their water activity level, they have an environment that is inhospitable to the growth of pathogenic bacteria or bacteria that's going to harm someone and make them sick. So there are certain criteria for the food exemptions. One of them is that it's a direct in-person, face-to-face sale of your product. The annual gross sales cannot exceed $25,000 within the year. And then you have to have some information on your product of either your business license or your name and address in case somebody needed to get in touch with you. And you need to let the consumers know that this product is not state inspected. So you need to have like a little placard, or if it's on your label that says that these products are not subject to state inspection. I know that here, the Homer's Farmer Market is great. They have it on their permit that is required to be posted at the booth. It's on there for those vendors. So here's some examples of some cottage foods. We have most baked goods, if they don't require refrigeration, fall under the cottage food exemptions. Pickled products with a high acidity or a low pH, things like pickles, salsas, barbecue sauces, and then there's some dehydrated vegetables or fruit. And I have this list up here for anybody who wants it. It's also on our website. Some of these have numbers by them, you'll see. So if you are selling a food under our cottage food exemptions, and you are stating that your pickles have a pH that's low enough to make them safe, you need to have some sort of documentation that proves that. So these numbers, so like the pickles are 2, that means that you need to have a pH test on file. For those that require a water activity test, you'll need to have that on file. And then for baked goods, most of the time, that is just having a recipe available, so that often that's for allergens.
How often do you have to have those pH tests?
Great question. So the pH test, we do not have to do it every product all the time. What you need to do is, so if you're making pickles, if you make pickles with the same recipe, the exact same way, every single time, you're going to make a batch of your pickles, you're going to contact one of our labs, ask them what they need for a sample, and send that sample in. When they give you the test results back that it's under 4.6 then you're good to go. If you change your product, if you change your process, if you change the ingredients in any way, you need to get that test done again. You're just showing, I do make it this way every time, and I took it in for testing, and it's good.
So if you're doing farmer's market for this summer, and you have the test done at the first of the season, so next season, do you have to have that test done?
If you're doing it the exact same way, everything's the same,
Okay.
you've tested your product, you've proven, you've done everything you can to prove that you've made it a safe product.
In the case of kombucha,
Mm-hmm.
if you make kombucha the same way every time, but then you have a second fermentation and it includes different kinds of fruit, do you have to have each kind of fruit tested?
I would say yes.
Yeah, not all fruits are the same acidity level, so
So
interesting.
even if you're starting with, you couldn't have the base kombucha tested that you're then adding the fruit to.
Because the additions may affect that pH a little bit.
On the problem.
It may not. So,
Okay.
and really ultimately, I have a slide too that shows that the tests are relatively inexpensive for those, and really you want to document that you've done everything you can to make this product safe.
When you say relatively inexpensive, what are we talking?
10,
Like
$20
for
a
each
test.
one?
Yeah.
In the cooperative extension, do they do testing anymore or no? Is it just our lab right
I'm
now?
not sure. I don't have their.
Well, we had a sauerkraut guy who had a problem. He said it would cost him $50 for each of his 4 products, because he did beets in red wine, he did beets.
Oh, he did 4 separate things.
Yeah, but he said the tests were $50 a piece.
That's an Anchorage, that could be municipality
Oh, okay.
versus
Yeah.
US.
Oh, okay, yeah. And again, I have contact information on here too for the DEC lab and for the cooperative extension.
Would your lab results work for municipality though?
You'd have to ask them.
Now, when you say Anchorage, do they have a delegated authority from you then? Is that what you call it?
Yes. Yep, so their standards follow the state. They actually go beyond the state standards. So this is just reiterating what I just said. So the pH you're looking for is 4.6 or below. And if you got a water activity test, it would be 0.88 or below. And again, the rest for baked goods, recipe on hand just for allergens. The cost of testing water activity is usually $10. pH is 20.
So can you explain a little bit more about the water activity test? What are you looking for?
Sure. So water activity means that the water in your product has been taken up by something else. There's no water available. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it's dried. It just means, like in real sugary things, the water binds to that sugar. And so there's no water available for the bacteria to grow. Does that make sense?
Like
So,
jams and
yeah,
honeys
and honey, yeah.
jellies.
Really sweet things. That's usually what it is that it's the water activity. So there's just no available water. And that list, this list here that I just showed back, that has the numbers on it, it lets you know which test you need for what product. And if you guys have vendors that are unsure, or if you're unsure about a certain product, like does this fall under the cottage food exemptions, just call one of us, call our offices. That's what we're here for. So just to reiterate, so the sales cannot exceed $25,000 in a calendar year. If they do, that's great. It means your business is growing and you want to expand your market and you want to get a processing permit, in which case you would come to us and we'd help you through that. A business name and address or a license, a business license number. Products are not subject to state inspection. And again, it's directly to the consumer, no wholesale, no internet sales.
Can you advertise on the internet?
Yes, as long as that ends transaction with a face-to-face transaction.
You do not inspect Anchorage. Does that exemption, is that statewide or
Except for the municipality of Anchorage.
Is Food Hub sales considered online sales?
Food Hub is an interesting topic, and I figured that we'd probably get some questions about that. So as of right now, food sold over the Food Hub is not part of the cottage food exemptions. That may change in the future. I'm not sure. We encourage you to contact people higher up in our program to talk to them about any concerns you might have with the food hub not falling under those exemptions. It's because you're taking out that face-to-face direct sale.
What about the CSA, which is still face?
Most of that is whole produce. We don't.
But I mean, what about like the cottage food? Like, what if somebody wanted to throw in
It's the
some
same
jam, or they want to throw in some bread?
It's the same thing. It would fall under a permitted. It would have to be a permitted product at that point.
If they sold
Because
it.
of the online piece, or
Because of the you're not having that direct face-to-face transaction with somebody. That's the intention of the cottage food exemptions, is that it's a face-to-face interaction with someone.
But that
And
could be.
the money changes hands directly with the person.
You can ask. So then you can ask
Could be.
questions.
If
Yeah.
the person in the food hub,
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
thinking of
whether
CSA.
Was the
I don't know what a CSA.
so the CSA is like the where they
Subscription service.
yeah.
So they're
they get-
going to pay in advance for.
But you've taken out
like
that.
the full circle
Yeah.
thing.
So, but
No,
you,
no.
No, that's, it is direct.
It is direct.
Yeah, the CSA is often you go directly to the farm and pick up
Oh,
your
yeah.
order. for
oh
that.
yeah,
a
if you're getting it
direct
direct from
sale.
somebody.
It's a
Yeah, I'm
direct-
sorry.
They're buying from one farmer that they know.
Yeah, if you're getting it direct from them, yeah, then that.
How about,
And it's not. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
so just our little food hub in Fairbanks, how we do is we post things that we have for sale online. They don't actually purchase them there. They make an order. It's just like an order form, and then I actually go and deliver the vegetables, and they pay me just that.
Well, that's
Or-
vegetables.
Well, let's say it was something. Let's say I was a cheesemonger, and
Let's not use cheese.
I'm sorry.
Let's go jam. Let's go
I'm sorry, the pickles guy.
jam.
And or jam late, the guy,
Okay.
you know? Because I'm bringing that crate. That
Are you the
case.
one? Are you the one that made the jam?
Yes.
If you're the one that made the jam, yes.
Like cottage industry, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like made it, but
Yeah.
even though they made the order, it
Yeah.
was online. they
Yeah,
made
but
the
you're
order,
delivering it.
but I deliver
Yeah.
it.
Yes. Yes.
But if you're delivering my jam,
That's
as
not
part of
good.
food hub, that's not gonna work.
Right.
Right.
But that's something, and because we chatted earlier,
Yeah.
and and here on the Kenai for our food hub, we're really keen on working through this to allow the cottage food exemption, because we do really believe that we are an online farmers market.
Yeah.
We have that source identification, that what we're trying to do, what we are doing, meets all those food safety guidelines, and so.
And the food hubs are a relatively new thing here, and so that may be something like we were talking about that may develop. But as of right now, cottage food exemptions cannot be done through the food hub.
And so we did, Robbie applied for an exemption through DEC and was denied that exemption. But we are looking to hopefully, meet with some more folks at DEC and then look further if this is something that needs to be worked through in statute, working with the legislature, figuring out what we need to do. Because we see that cottage foods are a really important component of the food hub specifically, and it's a really important part of our farmers market. If anybody else is interested in that, and is running a food hub or wanting to run a food hub, but I think it's going to be, and that's the feedback that you guys have given us, is that we need more people with this as an issue to
So I
rise up.
encourage you to contact. We can give you the names of our program heads. We don't have their cards or
You
anything
work
on us.
with
But
Lorinda, right?
Yeah.
So she's pretty important in cottage food. She's very knowledgeable in it. And then she works directly under Kimberly Stryker, who is the program manager for the whole food safety program. And those two are really the ones that have the power to affect regulation and change laws and work within the law to work with people. So those are really the people that affect the law. Like, we are just enforcing rules. We have no power. We're just
But both of them are very receptive and they're very easy to
They're
talk
very
to.
into the movement.
Yeah.
Lorinda's great.
Yeah.
They want to work with
Lorinda
you.
left.
Lorinda's on the Food Policy Council Governing Board with Danny and I would say, and Robbie and I were just kind of having this sidebar conversation, but bringing that issue to the Food Policy Council for us to discuss and advocate on your behalf. Lorinda can't do that while she's in her Food Policy Council world, but having that discussion at that table would be a very valuable thing. So.
And she's very approachable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She's a cottage food nurse.
Yeah. Yeah. If we ever have questions, we always
She's
call
on
her.
our side.
She's great.
One of the things that I want to point out, nobody's asked it yet, so I'm going to ask it. The $25,000 limit.
Yeah.
can you talk about, is that my entire farm, $25,000, or for the cottage food items?
It's per the item, is how I understand it, not for the whole. Per item.
Per item. So you could sell $25,000 worth of herbs and $25,000 worth of raw honey.
We'll have to get back to you on that. For some clarification.
It's funny, like, yeah, things aren't policed at that level. It's like, how would we even know if someone's really making, I mean, I guess if your thing is pretty fabulous, I don't know. I mean, I just don't think I'm policing that. Really,
Yeah, like I've gone to the farmer's market here and I've asked for stuff, but I'm not gonna be like, can I see your tax record somehow? You know, how much are you selling? You know, I don't know.
It's a rule and it's there, yeah.
If they found out, you found out the cottage food person was living in a house like this, you might.
And I see microgreens as being okay. But here is raw seed sprouts.
Sprouts are a totally different thing.
What is different between microgreens and
Because
sprouts?
the sprouts are the seed, and there have been cases linked to foodborne illness from eating raw sprouts, and it's salmonella in the seed itself. So certain things have to be accounted for with growing with that.
So as long as you cut the seeds off, you're okay?
It only grows out of the seed.
Okay.
It has
You have to have
salmonella in the
leaves.
seed.
There have to be leaves.
What do they
doesn't make
do? UV light them? I don't know what the processor's doing. I don't study too much.
Sprouts just have a root, so.
Well, microgreens, you just cut off.
You just cut them off at the. Microgreens are grown in a soil medium or some type of medium. So the root and the seed stays in the medium and you harvest your microbulb on the top. Microgreens and shoots are very different than a sprout product.
So sprouts just in a wad.
That's one way to put it.
And you still got the seed.
You know,
You still got the
I market shoots. I don't market microgreens and I don't market sprouts because I don't want the complication of risking any problems with my consumers. But shoots are similar to microgreens because they're grown in a medium. And I cut or trim and discard, actually I compost, I love that medium, but the shoot itself is not touching any soil.
Yes, okay.
Of course, it's washed anyway.
So I wondered, for example, we use we have a salsa business at our farmer's market, and so they're chopping vegetables in their home and mixing them and they're not canned, and they sell them fresh and they're cool.
Yeah.
My question is about, I'm a farmer, and I know I have a one-cut rule, right? So, but why
do they get to sell that?
Can I chop
Because
things in my kitchen?
their salsa is under the cottage food exemptions because of the pH.
Okay, so let's say I'm chopping carrots into little carrot sticks.
The pH isn't going to be low enough.
It's not going to be low enough. So
And the
if
idea-
it was
so-
tomatoes, it would be.
To slice tomatoes, so no. So dirty hands, like we're really like all upset about dirty hands and staff on hands. And so whenever you cut something and got your hands on it, and then you package it, and then maybe it's not cold held at the proper temperature, that staff can proliferate, and then you got an outbreak. So that's the pH takes care of that staff. Like it can't survive it. So that's the difference.
So you do allow fresh salsa under the Scottish food exemption?
As long as it's packaged, like you said, as long as it's not like canned or any of that kind of stuff. Yep, yeah, we have one here. So these things do not fall under the cottage food exemption. So meats, fish, sprouts, like we just talked about, garlic and oil mixtures, cheeses, non-acidified foods, so canned pumpkins and all that are not cottage foods. Pestos, vegetables, juices, bottled water, things that are cooked.
I have a question about this list. There's every dairy product listed here except butter. So butter's not on here. Does that mean butter is exempt?
No, that's just saying here's some dairy things. If you wanted to sell any sort of dairy, you'd have to go to the different department, the Department of Veterinarian. I'm not sure why butter's not.
Well, it says dairy products, including ice cream, so.
No, it's interesting. It broke down every dairy product.
Except for butter.
Butter's not in
White cream, whipping cream, everything.
Free butter.
So we do have a page on our website that gives some more information on cottage food exemptions. I encourage you guys to go to this or send your vendors here. And again, encourage people to contact us. I know the cottage food exemptions are confusing. They've been confusing for me to try to navigate and figure out. But so I'm happy personally to help anybody kind of navigate through it. So please go to our website, contact us. And with that, I'm going to turn it over municipality. Contact the municipality. I don't know. What were you pushing? Oh, just the space bar.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the temporary food service permits. And this is what you're going to expect your vendors to bring if they're selling food that's not exempt. So what she talked about. So you can ask me questions as we go. So temporary food service permit, what is it? It's a food establishment where food is prepared and provided in a ready-to-eat form to individuals for consumption, with or without charge. So free food's not safe food. That's my favorite saying. You guys are going to figure out who good cop and bad cop is. I'm already like standing with it. So the type of food service operation that is kept at one location for no more than, so this is kind of tricky too, 21 consecutive days at a single event. So we've got the state fair, 4th of July, and then we have no more than 2 days in any 1 week for not more than 120 days. That's clear as mud, right? But most of the farmers markets, this is what they're going to operate under. And this is a $120 permit. That slide's coming. Any questions about that? Yes.
So that changed from 1 day to 2 days not too long ago, and so would Lorinda be the one to talk to about extending that to 3 days a week?
We have a 2-3 day. It's a 1 day permit or a 2-3 or.
Well, I think he means like they have a 3-day market.
Oh.
We have 3 days a week
Oh, I
that
see.
we have a market, and so our hot food vendors can't come on Sundays because they come on Wednesdays.
We have that
and
problem
Saturdays.
in our area too because they operate at different locations. So we kind of instituted our own policy about a zip code. I would talk to Lorinda and just say, hey, we've got this. Like, how can we keep this at $120 and comply, but not pay another extra $120 for 1 more day?
Well, so would that be okay? Like they could get 2 temporary permits, the same business, and sell 3 days?
That's
in a
what they
week?
technically would have to do. They would
They
have to
could
get
do that.
another $120 permit
Yeah,
to
but
operate
if they
in
were willing to spend
another.
$120,
If they're willing, then yeah, like
Wow.
don't even
Oh, I should tell my hot food vendors.
Anything else? Okay. This is what the permit will look like. If we've issued them a permit, it should be hanging up in their little, whatever they've got going on there. And so this one obviously needed a permit because it's got ham and cheese and mushrooms and eggs and fruit. And then this is how I kind of do them like this. Weekends, May through September, because we know it's different farmers markets. We know the Homer Farmers Market has these 2 days or the other one. So we just kind of make it, that's where the leeway is, for the days. So this is what you're looking for from them. And this is what do they need to do? So when they're turning in the application, this is what we expect to see in the application. We want to see their layout. How are they keeping their food hot or cold? Do they have a cooler? Do they have a refrigeration unit? Where's their hand wash going to be? And then figure out their menu. We're going to ask them questions. Where do you buy your food? We need to make sure it's a approved source. How's the food prepared? How will it be stored? What are you doing with your leftovers? And then here's a great example of this. This is a great hand wash sink. It's got the valve that stays open, so you can get both your hands under there to wash your hands. You don't have to hold it. And soap, paper towels, and that's kind of typical. Got the coolers out. The corn roaster guy. And then events that last, we go back and forth about this. An event that lasts 4 or more consecutive days, we expect to see a food worker card. And so we might ask them if we're there doing a temporary permit inspection. I kind of expect that at the farmer's market, if they're there every weekend, that they should have a food worker card. The regs don't really lay it out like that.
but I would expect them to have one. It's $10, it's online, it's super easy, so it's important. And now if we did the inspection and it was a mess in there, temperature's out of control, no ice, I would say, I'm not gonna let you use this permit until you go get one. And here's the prices. I'm really thirsty. So this has not gone up, so you had asked earlier, none of this has changed, this is all the same. Okay, so if we're at
Back to that one real quick. So what's
Sorry.
At the very bottom, the 120 and 240.
It's
So the 240 is 200.
I'm sorry, what?
So down here at the 120 day event, it's got the 120 and the 240. What is the 240 for? Is that 120 day event?
If you turn it in late.
Oh, that's
It's
the
too
late
close to
fee.
the event.
Late fees. Sometimes we're pretty cool about late fees, but sometimes people abuse it. A lot of our, I don't think I've ever charged a $120 late fee for a person getting in that. This is statewide, so we are supposed to be charging people late fees. If they don't get that in,
Encourage your vendors to get them in at least.
they have
a
to,
week.
right? They have to get your permits in before for the markets.
Well,
First day.
Just the first day operating?
Yeah, but we require those food safety cards for everyone regardless.
So what we might do, instead of charging them an extra $120, we might say, okay, well, you can start operating next weekend. So that's your option. You can pay $240 right now, or you can operate next weekend. So is that it? Okay, so if we were doing an inspection, this is stuff we would be looking at. They have hand washing. Nobody's throwing up in a toilet.
Oh, wait.
The approved source, and then hand washing and glove use.
How often do you guys do inspections?
We go to Salmon Fest.
It was a safe event.
Wow.
First 2 days. It just depends, and if we're there, we don't. So the ones in our area, we get to at least once a summer. I don't know if I came to the summer one
You did.
last year.
Yeah,
I know I
we went to
have
the
been there, but I
Wednesday
didn't know if I
night.
went last year. It just depends on accessibility for us too.
And time, because they don't want to pay us overtime, so it just kind of depends if we can flex our time out to do it. So, but a lot of the if everyone's gathered, then it's really easy to get those done and get the mobile units done. So.
And we go to a lot of things off our work hours too and notice things.
And we see
So-
things. And then we might call them like the next day, I saw you doing this or whatever.
Yeah, just like
Everyone's pretty.
yeah, everyone is. And I didn't mean like we're like checking in on you, but like we just want to make sure ultimately that you're serving safe foods.
Right, I mean, we're eating it, and our kids, I have 3 kids, so I want to make sure they're eating safe. Okay, here's the other things we might look at. How much cold, hot storage do you have? That's a really big deal at Salmon Fest. Day 1, everyone's got great cold storage. Day 3, the ice is running out. There's the danger zone. Are the temperatures good? And then this is a really fancy dishwashing setup. Usually people just have buckets set out. So.
Can I clarify? I'm sorry. This works under the assumption that everything's being prepared in the booth.
Yes.
From like A to Z.
But it doesn't have to be. It can be cooked in a commissary kitchen and then brought to the location. One way or the other. It's got to be either prepared in like an approved kitchen or prepared at the booth.
And that's something when they turn in their paperwork for their temporary food service permit, that's what we address that at that time, of where they're going to be doing things.
So, for instance, something that we would see a lot is maybe like a spinach cheddar scone. What would that fall under?
Tasty.
Fall into my
The cheddar is what's going to push it over because it's going to have to be cold held.
But then if you went to a normal bakery, it wouldn't be.
Yeah. Do you like go to a bakery over here that has day old sitting out that's got cheese and meat in it? No,
doesn't
it should not be
necessarily
like that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
assuming there's cheese and meat in it, it should be cold.
It should
held
be
at-
cold or
Yes.
hot held. It could be hot. That would be yummier. Let's go. Heat it up.
Okay, just one more annoying question.
No, it's not annoying.
Like, red velvet cupcake with cream cheese frosting, where would that live?
That's okay. That's
The cream cheese.
the-
Enough sugar that you kill
It's like-
all
No cream
Um,
cheese.
So,
Is that cottage
So
cheese?
sometimes it works
according to the regulations, cream cheese frosting would be something that would be cold held. But
I would encourage anybody that's selling products
where it's like something like that.
Figure it out.
Is it
We'll figure it
filled?
out.
If it's filled with something creamy, does it really need to be cold? And if we don't know, if we're like this, how we're like, and arguing, so we'll call Lorinda and we'll say, what do you think, or what are you guys doing for this? And she might say, oh yeah, we're letting people do that, or oh no, everyone's getting a permit. So because we gotta think about the risk. So it's case by case, subjective.
You know
It's
what's
just
confusing for me with the hot cold thing is like our market is pretty short, and I have like the food manager training because I've owned a restaurant before, and so like with the hot holding and all of that kind of stuff, it's like, and you have a certain timeline and all that. Like mine is like I could make something and it will be sold before we get to like danger zone territory time wise. So that's what I always get confused about because I'm like I know this is going to be gone before we're getting into this kind of stuff. But it seems like the regulations are written such that, like, if it ever would have to be refrigerated in its lifetime.
it's not written like that. It's time or temperature. So you can use time, but you have to log it. So
Okay.
if you want to have your scone out of temperature control for 4 hours and then you're going to throw it away, that's fine. You just have to like write it down, write it on the package in a Sharpie.
What time it was taken out of
Yeah.
temperature control.
Okay.
And stuff like that cannot, you have 4 hours, but you cannot then you reuse it later. Like it has to
Right,
be
but
expired.
it's not for, okay.
The problem is what we see when we go into a place is that they're not actually logging any times down, and they're just saying, "Oh no, I know it will all sell. I know that," and it's like, well, you got to prove it to me because I know you guys get busy. But I guess a temporary permit could do the same. They could use time too. They just have to keep the logs. Okay, so when do I need a permit? The type of permit you would need would depend on what you wanted to do. We have all sorts of different types of permits. The market you want to sell to, are you wholesaling, are you retailing? How hazardous is the product? Does it not fall under cottage foods? So, for example, I think someone was selling pumpkin butter, canned pumpkin butter. It's very dangerous. It's not a food you want to can and sell to people. Botulism is a really big concern. And so that food would have to get a permit to sell. It's a low acid canned food must have a permit.
So I
No
have a
questions
question,
asked.
like how does permitting make it safer? Is the person, is the person who's paying the fee paying for testing?
They're paying for inspections and that somebody's reviewed the plans and looked at the equipment
And that's
and looked
what
at the
the permitting
process.
pays
That's
for.
what the permitting goes, yeah. An individual outside person has kind of looked at that. So a person wanting to actually get a processing permit would turn in a plan review packet, meet all the requirements. They can't make that food in their home kitchen unless they built a whole separate kitchen on their property and then got it DEC approved. The benefits of that is you can sell to anyone. Yay. No restriction on gross sales. You could make 30 grand.
So I have another question too, which kind of puzzles me. You can get a permit for a temporary kitchen, and provided maybe you would be making baked goods in that kitchen. But it's like, so you can't bake it in your kitchen in your house, but if you like set up a table with a little toaster oven outside and you've got your 3 sinks and it's like okay for a temporary permit, you can bake it out there. That seems odd to me.
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead.
Well, so if you're doing that, you've gone through this permitting process and we've looked at your product, your process, everything you're doing, and we've addressed any concerns you
Right,
might
but
have.
you won't inspect a home kitchen. That's-
Exactly, and
We
may
can't
have
go into people's homes either, like
And you may
that.
have-
You don't want the state in your home, right? I mean,
Well,
And you may have animals, you may have other things there where,
they
the
might run around
allergens.
outside too.
Yeah.
There's pollen out there.
But if you,
I mean, to me, it's just, I can't see that they're, as far as food safety goes, I don't see where the difference lies.
I think it's just an additional barrier. It's just it's just an additional barrier that this person has
And
said
what is
they're
the
doing
purpose
this
of
way.
that
To
additional barrier?
make the food safer.
is there
And
liability?
I still don't
protection that
understand
goes along with
how
that?
that makes food safer.
I just think for the food vendor, do you get some protection then? If you have gone through this process to get the permit and somebody says, I got sick off your food, like, is that a benefit to?
That's what insurance is for.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone should have insurance if you're serving food to the public.
Any permitted food at our farmer's market, you have to carry liability insurance.
Really?
Yeah.
Go
You
ahead.
don't want the market to get sued.
What if you own a subject property that's completely vacant with a really nice kitchen? Can you use that?
Yes.
but it has to meet the requirements of it.
It doesn't have to be, it needs to be permittable, not permitted. So we have a lot of churches that have like these great kitchens that are totally permittable. They meet all of our requirements. You can use that kitchen as long as it meets all those requirements.
Is there a list of
There
those?
is.
Yeah, I'm wondering, I know Jody over here mentioned the Presbyterian Church, and so is there a list that people can access and make contact with?
There is an online list, and pretty much every community center has one. Yeah.
And I'm just curious, because we were talking about this earlier as far as like the permitting process isn't really that hard. But I was thinking, and probably I might be wrong, but I feel like a lot of, sort of thinking like kind of with the food house more, but that a lot of our cottage, like the folks that are making things are not going through the steps to be permitted. And even the Methodist Church, Cole Point, we've got a number of DEC approved kitchens here that are available for use. And I don't see people using them. And I'm wondering if that's true kind of around the state, for you all, for folks elsewhere, like what are those barriers? Besides like paperwork's not fun, but as a board member, like we could help hold people's hands through that. But what are those barriers? Is it not cost effective for? I don't know. I don't understand what the
It is
barriers are
really
besides the
expensive,
scariness of
like,
coming through
yeah,
the-
up front, it's expensive. You've got to pay a plan review fee, you've got to pay for your annual permit fee. You have to jump through all the hoops and turn in the plan and be scrutinized, get your label approved if you're doing some sort of packaged food that you're going to retail sell. So it seems intimidating, I think, but it's very doable. We have a lot of processors. We have a lady who makes homemade noodles in a garage that she converted and got the water and septic system approved. Rosie's Pasta. Yes, so she has a processing permit. Great noodles. We have several people like that. Coffee roasters. We work really closely with people to make things happen. We don't say no. We say like, okay, what can we do to like get this happening?
We're not going to have barriers. Like,
No.
if you have people that really want to get permitted, like
We're gonna help
We just have to
them.
work together to figure out what's the easiest way for everybody to do.
And there are a lot of great kitchens here in Homer. You have, like she said, Cole Point is available. There's a lot of churches. The Wildberry Emporium.
I think it was
Yeah.
Cooperative Extension that was keeping track of the list, the searchable list, the home health.
Oh, yeah, it was the
out of
extension.
Juneau.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if she's still doing it, but a couple of years ago, she was keeping the list updated.
They could call and ask. They can always just call us and we can, because sometimes we might limit it. Like we want if 10 people want to use the Wildberry place, we got to start thinking about storage and freezer space and time. What time are you going to be in there? So,
I guess I'm trying to think of like how can we make that more attractive to people, like get more people doing like jumping through these hoops,
Making it
so that we
less
can get more of these products out being sold, because that value added can be so important.
And then it opens their market too. Like they can sell beyond the farmers market or the food hub. They can sell to grocery stores. They can sell like once they get a processing permit, you can sell to whoever. So it really opens up doors.
So you guys don't care, if you're issuing the licenses, you don't have the database? Or you don't have capacity to have.
Oh, I have a database with everything in
Like
there.
for all the state though? I mean, that's where Minnesota's sitting.
Yeah, we can look up for most of the state.
Yeah.
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 But we don't maintain a list. Our database is really ancient and terrible, and so to create that list would take a really long time. But we could definitely pull up something and look at it and pull the file and see if it'll work. So, what do we got? Dairy products. This is the Office of State Veterinarian, not us. So we get lots of questions about goat cheese and raw milk and making cheeses. That's not us at all. We don't do that. We don't even. I don't even know about it. I just couldn't even answer. I know about canned food, and that's it.
And so you guys don't deal with things like cheesecake or the cream cheese frosting
Cheesecake.
either?
I have a cheesecake processor that works
Okay.
out of a little church kitchen.
Okay,
Cheese-
so dairy meaning like sort of raw dairy.
Yeah,
Okay.
because her cheese comes from a commercial package of Philadelphia cream cheese that she buys at Sadie. So she's not like making her own cream cheese. So I guess it kind of comes back to it's commercially prepared baked goods.
Right.
Raw meat also, Office of State Veterinarian.
So I have a question. So if I'm buying commercial organic butter from Costco and making my product, that's exempt because it's a commercially made butter?
No, she has a processing permit. Yeah, so didn't we do one like that where there's herbs or garlic or something in it? Oh.
I talked to her about it before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not exempt.
It's
You just
not
wouldn't
exempt.
have to go through the state office of the veterinarian because you're not making the.
You're not making your own butter.
Right. Yeah, so it's not exempt product necessarily.
So I need a permit.
You need it.
So my family is commercial fishermen, so if they catch their own fish and process it in Bristol Bay, it's FDA approved. Can I bring that packaged fish to the market and sell it?
Yeah, as long as it's coming from an approved processing vessel.
Okay.
Right. You've got an AK number, right? AK,
Yeah.
yep, yeah.
And then also, like we sell smoothies. We have, our kitchen is DEC approved, and we sell smoothies out of there. It's real fruit smoothies. It's frozen. Is there any bad about that? I know my boss just wanted me to ask.
Meaning you're selling them directly out of your kitchen or you're packaging them and selling them later?
No, we pull the frozen fruit out of the fridge, mix it up, and sell it. Is that like it's
After I've bought it. If I'm a customer, I've bought it, then you make it for me? Or you make it ahead of time?
You're making it at the.
Yeah, they'll
at the
come and
market.
order one and we make it. And
Those usually need a permit with the blender because you have the blender that has to be washed, rinsed, and sanitized.
And the methods
And
to
then
like access the.
how are you?
Okay.
Yeah, where'd you get the fruit from? It's
well, it's packages from Costco. So
Yeah.
yeah, and it's under. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So does Alaska have a product of the farm exclusion? No.
Does it have what?
Alaska doesn't have an exemption from licensing a product of the farm. You don't have anything like that in statute.
Oh, I don't
Right?
know.
If you don't, yeah.
I don't know that. I kind of know what you're talking about, but
Because in Minnesota we do.
that's kind of
So-
part of the FSMA stuff we're talking about
Yeah,
next,
it's
right?
not the same
They
as
touch
the
on
raw
that, where an exemption.
Yeah, uncut. The raw agricultural products are exempt.
So it's
Yeah. Is that what you're saying? Like,
Yeah,
so
you call it
yeah,
raw.
yeah,
So-
raw.
But
Harvest
uncut.
cut.
Uncut.
Well, it can be trimmed out.
Exactly.
Trimmed out or stuff.
It says one cut in statute.
It says harvest, cut, and trim, I think.
The exact wording.
Well, and that one trim.
So what is it when somebody sells beef, so they cut the tops off?
That's.
That's one cut.
I think that's
That's
what
what, that's the one cut, the trim, you can do
Yeah,
that.
you can trim it, you just can't like sell diced beets or diced celery or diced carrots or salad or any of that stuff. So just trim it up to make it look good. for-
You can wash it and like a greens mix.
Back to the question about the fish.
What was that question again?
So you can like wash it and make it greens mix.
No, you can't. That's just, so what you can do, what you can do is those miniature like heads of lettuce, you can harvest your miniature heads of
I'll give
lettuce
you my
and
number.
cut the butt off
Okay, figure out what.
and mix those in your bin as you're going down your row in your field, and that's making a salad mix, but I would stay the farthest away from saying anything you sell is wash.
Is what?
Washed. She was asking.
Oh,
if
washed.
she was mixing it.
Rinse.
Yeah. How people, yeah.
Why?
So they'll wash it themselves.
So, well,
Yeah.
because
Surely.
washing is they're assumed it's clean.
Oh, you mean the
Your water might be clean, or you could have a nasty shallow well with gross nasties in it. And I don't want to wash my stuff in it. I'd rather wash it myself, you know? Like, I'm on city water.
I'm sure.
But, or not, I don't know. I just don't know.
Question for everybody here. Who buys the Fresh Express lettuce and opens it and doesn't wash it out before they eat it?
I don't wash that. It's been washed with a micro, it's a bleach, basically. They bleach that stuff.
They bleach that.
They bleach that stuff. Not saying that's good for you, but that's what happens. Yeah.
Wash your veggies.
Have insurance.
Did you have a question?
Oh, I was just curious if you were doing prepared, like, would you have to get your farm approved as an approved source in order to utilize that produce in cottage food?
Well,
So for a restaurant, or?
For garbage, no, because ultimately, like, if you're using stuff from your farm, that's a whole agricultural product, which we don't even deal with. So
Okay.
then you're taking that, but you could have got that from the store, you could have got that from anybody.
Okay.
And then whatever you're doing with it, then we get interested, but when it's whole, that, you can get it.
Yeah, we get interested at the process, and then, so that's where the confusion comes in, like, when does the process start? And that's where they made the one-cut rule, and it's, yeah. So
It's a
fish,
question that comes up a lot in restaurants, like if a farmer's trying to sell a restaurant and the restaurant looks through the food code and they say, well, are you an approved source? And a farmer automatically goes, no, because they don't think they
Yeah.
are. They think that's some official form.
right.
But you are an approved source for raw agricultural products
Yeah.
in the produce world.
And sometimes for chicken and eggs,
Right.
too. Yeah.
Right. It's the what?
And for chicken and eggs.
Up to 20,000 birds. Yeah.
But a lot of, it adds more, I shouldn't have said that, sorry.
We're getting to that slide, we're getting to it.
Oh, let's get, move on. Okay,
That's why I must say just call it.
fish and shellfish, we do regulate this. There's a few shellfish farms here. I come twice a year and I inspect all those shellfish plants. And I love it. That's probably one of the favorite parts of my job. I love seafood and shellfish. And I think I just got an application for the Jackaloff Bay. They're going to be set up at an event, and she does awesome. Her oysters are delicious. And she's applying for a shucker packer permit, so she'll be doing additional processing besides just serving it on the half shell. So that's super exciting. They built a new plant, and I'm very excited about that.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. She might come to the farmer's market too.
She does. She's going to shuck at the market.
She's at the market. Great. Good.
You said oyster parade.
Yeah. This is low acid canned food. This is highly regulated by FDA. It has to be registered. I do have that training pretty fresh. I've only done 6 of them. I just did the training last April. Heidi's going to Seattle to do the training shortly. Strictly prohibited. Strictly, unless it's in it. Any questions about that? And then reduced oxygen packaging. We're always worried about botulism when you create an anaerobic environment. And so prohibited foods would be seafood, meat, canned, strictly prohibited. Very regulated. Eggs, no permit required. So this is what we talked about, like, to the restaurant. Restaurant owners, sometimes you might come to them with your eggs and then they'll, oh, no, I can't buy them. But they can, actually. You can call us with more questions about that.
And I actually have a handout here on
Let me have a
eggs,
handout.
for if you want to give it to your egg producers, that it goes over their requirements. They have to make sure that they're clean, and they have to have some labels on it, so in case somebody thinks they got 600 eggs, they do have to take back to the farm.
Oh, Visma. Okay, so to shift from responding to foodborne illnesses and outbreaks to preventing them. Just so you know, this is a new thing for us too, so we don't actually know a ton about this. It is going to be under DEC, but it's my understanding that they've hired somebody out of the Anchorage office that's specifically going to be dealing with the new food regulation and specifically with produce. So we'll tell you what I do know and then give you some contact information. So there are 7 parts to the new ruling, but the one that you guys probably care about is the standards for produce safety. So this was developed to address farm practices for produce that is generally eaten raw. So there are some exemptions for produce that is rarely consumed raw, for grains and animal feeds, for any produce that's going to go through further processing or go through what we call a kill step, which kills bacteria that may cause illness. Or if you're producing produce that's just for personal use or on-farm consumption. Then there are also farm exemptions. Oh, go ahead.
Well, maybe
Go
this
back.
will explain
Okay, so those are exemptions for products that are exempt. This is exemptions for farms. So if your farm's gross produce sales average for the last 3 years, not total of the 3 years, but each individual year, is less than $25,000 annually, you are exempt from this rule. But there's more. So this is just flat out exempt. Then there's qualified exemptions. So this is if your farm average sales are less than $500,000 a year, and 50% of the food that you are selling is going to qualified end users. And they define qualified end users as either the consumer or a restaurant or establishment in the same state or within 275 miles of a farm. So for us, it would be in state.
Well, okay. Cruise ships included in that?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It's a restaurant. Yes, a restaurant. The Wilderness Explorer comes through occasionally, and they write local, and we have the elasticity. Somebody comes in.
That's a really good question. I would imagine that you're selling it in state.
Yeah.
Tell them to eat it before they get
Yeah, you're selling it in state to the end consumer there, which they're calling a retail food establishment. So yes, I want to say yes, but I feel like I can't say yes. So most farms in Alaska are going to fall under one of these 2 exemptions. Again, these are the requirements for that. So if you're going to claim that you're exempt from a qualified exemption, there are some things you need to do. You need to have the name and the business address either on so if you're doing like labels, if you're bunching stuff and putting a label on it, you need to have the name and address. Or if you're just having a booth, you just need to have the name of your farm with an address. And then they talk about establishing documentation for your eligibility. I'm not sure what that specific documentation is. I can imagine that because the exemptions are about finances and who you're selling it to, that would fall under maybe some records that you're already keeping as far as your sales and who those sales are to. If you do not fall under those exemptions, if you are a farm that needs to be under the produce rule, there are 5 things that you need to do. There'll be some water testing, and there'll be some testing for any sort of soil amendments, and then there's some criteria if you're doing domesticated and wild animals. They're going to look at equipment, and then worker training, health, and hygiene. I do not know, again, the specifics of these 5 things, but I do know that if you go online and you look at the produce rule for FSMA, it's actually not very long, and it isn't too difficult to read. Like it kind of just spells it out, and it goes into the specific water requirements and all the requirements for all of these. Again, this is something that is new. It is DEC that's going to be taking over this, but they're developing a program right now. They do plan on doing some outreach and some meetings this year. And this is probably who everybody wants to write down. Sarah Coburn. This is her number. This is who you should contact with any questions about the FSMA regulations. I do want to say too that even if you fall under the exemptions, or most of your farms fall under the exemptions, you always I would encourage people to just know what the requirements are. They may have buyers, wholesale buyers that will require. I believe Tomaseo, I never know how to say that, and Charlie's Produce in Anchorage, I believe they're going to require that any of their people get the process under these regulations. So I would encourage you to encourage your farmers to contact Sarah, find out about any sort of opportunities to learn more about this.
Is the A left out of Alaska for
Yeah.
readers?
It's just in this.
So when you tell folks that they should go online and read the produce safety rule, where? Because if you go Google Food Safety Modernization Act, there's a lot.
What I did when I was looking for it, I Googled FSMA produce, FSMA new produce safety rule, and it came right up to it.
But
it was
I'm talking-
very easy to.
But which, I mean, because Cornell University, like different people
I went to
put up
the
information.
FDA, the
You
FDA
tell them to
thing.
go to FDA.
Yeah.
Okay. So will Alaska start having links on the DEC website about here's.
I can imagine that they would, but again, I'm not.
I feel like I already saw a link on our food safety.
Did there one there?
Yeah. Kimberly Stryker's pretty good about like keeping stuff updated with links to FDA and stuff. But we'll let her know.
Yeah.
So, as an advocate for small farmers in the room, I would just say that the one thing she said, probably all of you sitting in here think, I'm going to be exempt. But that doesn't mean that the people buying your product are going to accept that exemption. If you're selling to restaurants or some of the wholesale suppliers, they might go, I don't care if the state of Alaska thinks you're exempt. I want you to be following and proving to me that you're, so that's where the
at least encourage educating themselves about the requirements and to determine even if they are that.
And that little sub-bullet, subcontracts with DNR Division of Ag and UAF Cooperative Extension, that's where the training's gonna happen?
I started to say,
Okay.
I'm pretty much in the dark.
So when I asked about FSMA earlier, my question, I mean, this seems like exactly what I read. Like, I haven't really changed that exemption and all that, that's for a while. I was just, because Bill Sack told you, if you hadn't read it just the other day, it's changed. But this part hasn't necessarily changed.
Yeah, roughly 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it's kind of all run together when I was the chairman for the Farm Association State Committee. Had a meeting with Tom, so it's afternoon there, with questions. I asked him about FSMA, and yeah, he was very, very blunt and direct. I think he was frustrated about it too a little bit. He just said, "You didn't read it last night. It's not accurate." And I think that's your reference. And you go online.
There's a
read
lot
of
of information, but you need to make sure you're reading the right information that's up to date. And my other thing, I touched on, and maybe it's been removed, I don't know, but where's the co-packing? Where's the part about if you're conglomerating food from different farms in one space, that makes you no longer exempt?
Yep.
But what if both farms are exempt? Are you saying you're co-mingling with a giant farm?
No.
Just multiple,
Oh.
even.
I'm saying the food hub, and anybody who's co-packing with other farmers should be concerned and watch for that information to come out.
So a cooperative CSA type of deal, put it in the C box.
That could take you from being an exempt farm to no longer being exempt.
So if we have a vendor who is bringing in product from several farms and selling them for a smaller farm.
I'm not any longer be exempt.
And I'm not aware of.
You were saying there was a packaging component in on that.
You're not just exempt because you fall under that rule. You're going to be applying for the exemption. You're going to be asking for the exemption.
You mean you're not automatically exempt, you have to
And you're applying. You'll be applying to DEC to be exempt.
It's
That's
not
what.
under the qualified exemptions though, this
What's that?
application, so just a general exemption, you wouldn't. It's only the people who are trying to get the qualified exemption.
Right.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is your application right now, get that exemption from DEC.
No.
So how are we gonna enforce enforce it? Is like,
Well-
is there enforcement in place, or there like a bunch of lettuce cops out there? that
Well, this- Right now, the state veterinarian is a lettuce cop. Am I incorrect?
How many of them are there?
There's state vet, and there's Sarah Kohler is the assistant state veterinarian, but she's only been on the job for 2 weeks. She's brand new.
So what kind of enforcement do they plan on doing? Like, take it?
I talked to Linda, and she said that this is one of the things that DEC does not have is a lot of extra staff or other places to send out inspectors all over the place. So, you know, and it's good practices. The school districts, like in Fairbanks, if you're gonna sell the school districts, I mean, they already require a lost gap audit. And, you know, good agricultural practices are good agricultural practices. Keeping things clean and knowing.
Well, I think people do that, you know, if you're a small producer, and you make one person sick, you're trading over that.
Yeah.
You
We
know,
have a-
word gets around.
We have a Girl Scout, Boy Scout kind of farm here in town, and they had, a couple of years ago, the gap audit, folks came down and did a little lecturing. It became very clear that there was absolutely nothing, we were exempt from everything. But, they still went ahead and went online and filled out the, audit for their farm, as in like, these are the practices we do, it's only, there's a template online, is that on a DC page, what is that? Yeah, well, that was.
It's USDA.
It's, well, yeah, that was a division act.
Yeah, that's
Division
division
That was.
Yeah, we sent out a survey just on our last newsletter. How did you get the last newsletter?
New one just came out.
Yeah, just came out. We actually, well, I encourage you to sign up for that and go to the DEC website and sign up. But we actually had a survey, a couple questions about this, and just saying, hey, you know what it is. And then as stuff comes down, that's the way we can, you know, we can work together and help educate people.
Those folks posted that on their website, and now they can say, you know, these are the practices we've done, we posted that 2 years ago, we've been doing these practices. So even as weird things come along, they'll have all in their back pocket.
That's the thing, use it as a marketing tool.
Yeah.
I've passed the division guys mock gap audit, and I've done this 7, you know, I mean, those are good things.
Yeah.
It's not,
Yeah.
but I would watch for the stuff about small producers working together and co-packing and the food hub, that.
So, I have another question. I've been trying to think this whole time how to frame it, because I don't want to sound rude. But, so, I've seen people go through, and mostly I'm thinking of like trying to get a food truck put together. What's the phone number? You go online, oh, here's somebody in, oh, Cooperative Extension, I'll call them. It's somebody in Fairbanks. Oh, that's so, gosh, I've got to have a whole DEC approved truck, and I've got to have a kitchen, and then talk to somebody else. Oh, that's what you're selling? Oh, no, you only need, really? And so you find out, who did you talk to get that information? So you call Juno, and oh, wait, you got a different answer. And then wait, person I'm thinking of was my husband, it was his wife, and like what you guys said, so he
Their son, someone calls like, well, I'm just doing this, and then the next time they call, they talk to someone, you know, they say, oh, well, I'm gonna shellfish, and then the next time they call it, like, I think we can't really answer questions until we know, like,
Right, well, in this case,
has a solid plan.
right, he didn't have a solid plan. So I guess my question is there from a recommendation from you guys, because this is your job, and since you're the enforcement, is it best that people are talking to their regional person first, and then you
Always,
guys?
we approve it from the whole thing, it doesn't ever go anywhere else, like it comes into our office, we take the money, we do the pre-opening inspection, we review the plan, we issue the permit, so if you're talking to Juno and Fairbanks and Anchorage.
Right. So
That's
like the
separate.
subcontracts from UAF Cooperative Extension Program, my trust level just went down tenfold for that, you know, because we have received different information.
Yeah, I think that's just gonna be a problem, I don't think it's the answer for that. That happens, people call us and then they call Juno and you don't know, you know, here's stories change, I don't know.
And I know you guys are from all over the state, but Melanie and I are the two, like, it's just us here on the peninsula, and we talk a lot about, like, things that we got in, who are you, oh, I got this plan review, what are they on,
I got this call, what do you think?
and so we are pretty similar in our
And we have Seward, and we have Homer, we have everything on the road, we have Hope, we have the Cook Inlet, we have, Wallet, Corcoran, Sylvania, Tyonek. We have a huge area. We have, 1,250 committed facilities, plus and seafood. In the summer, we're working on big contracts in the big seafood plant. So we are super busy, and I could see how someone could call and be really frustrated that they're not getting an answer right away, like, I don't call back till next week. We try to be pretty customer service friendly and let people know we're out of the office this week, we're going to get back to that. We have 5 plans on our desk, you're number 3. We pride ourselves on being really good about that, but there are other offices where you could feel like you're getting call this for you.
And I would encourage you to encourage your vendors that as soon as they know they want to do something, even if that's tomorrow in February or March, I guess we're in, get plans into us because everybody has a great idea and it's starting in April. The ideas just get better and better as the summer goes. And there's just 2 of us and we are doing inspections. We're doing, I'm just saying that like they're going to get a quicker turnaround if they do stuff and they think about it rather than when they need it.
We're like the same people, pretty much. It's like there's one person that's like, oh, come on. You knew you were doing this, like, so long.
For outreach and stakeholder meetings, who should we stay tuned to?
The veterinarian's office, so
Okay.
Sarah.
And does she have just contact her and tell her?
Yeah, as far as I know, like, it was like she's new, I'm not sure what their
Okay.
mode is going to be. I apologize, I don't have more
Maybe
information for
that'll
you.
come out on the division of X.
I don't know.
Maybe.
If there's information.
Yeah,
we can
or
have.
just to stay tuned for it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if there's information, we'll pass it along, we're not gonna be like, no, we'll pass it along.
That's why I encourage everyone to sign up for the last 2 months.
Right, yeah,
Newsletter, because as we get stuff, we get it, we don't have, we don't have to.
And I'll put it on the Farmer School listserv too, just because I know that lots of you guys are connected, and so, yeah, somehow or another we'll get it out.
And I want to tell you guys that Heidi and I are really well versed in HACCP plans and hazard analysis and looking for critical limits. And if you want to come to us and say, this is, hey, I'm going to sell this and maybe I need to do a launch, I got this equipment, where do you think the critical points are in this equipment that maybe I should be paying attention to? What are approved sanitizers? We do this all the time with seafood plants. They have to get their water approved, they have to get their microbiology testing done, their equipment. So I'm not afraid of this at all, and I'm totally happy to help people with those kind of things.
If it sounds scary, if we tell you like you need a HACCP plan for that,
Yeah, it's not that scary. It's
we-
completely doable. Seafood plants are doing it, all day long.
we're here to help you.
We're here to help.
We're from government. But I mean, it's true. Like we really are.
I think as market managers, something that my vendors, just like you were like, when the lettuce cops come in, like, people that are coming up with new food businesses see DEC as like the cops. And then you don't really want to talk to the cops and ask them how they're breaking the rules. Like, your vendors probably need some encouragement to be like, hey, DEC is actually
They're really nice.
helpful.
They're all people.
Like their boss or whatever. Really a sweet lady, and everybody that's coming to the market do inspections. So I actually, when I get people calling me like, I'm thinking about doing this, I'm like, hey, get a hold of the DEC. They're like, okay, they're there to help. They're gonna get you what you're looking for.
We're on the same team. We want, you want safe food for people, we want safe food for people. It's the same.
And those people are just like, you business, you're like, should I ask? Should I not do it, or should I,
Can you guys tell me our breaking rules you can hang?
Yeah.
See over there?
Yeah, we told Robbie you can always throw us under the bus. If you guys are having problems with vendors and you're trying to be like, no, this is DEC's rules, throw us under the bus.
You are, like you said.
Have them call me. I'll tell them.
We can be bad cops.
I can be.
We can.
There's a lot of farmers markets and vendors, et cetera, from Anchorage in here, which I know you guys, are not the Anchorage police. That's municipality of Anchorage.
But your friends.
Right. I have heard that the municipality of Anchorage is reviewing their food code right now, and that they might be making some major changes. So those of you that try to utilize that market, might want to be paying attention and providing feedback. I don't know if they're soliciting feedback from people, but that doesn't mean you can't give it to them about how you think they should change the food code. And maybe revert to DEC's food code and cottage food exemption, et cetera, because we like that standard.
And also that goes for selling both.
Yeah.
It'd be easier to have
Are you guys having
one.
problems?
No, there are people down here that vend out there.
Yeah.
Like if there's a, any kind of activity that happens in Anchorage and you want to participate, kind of do all of what you do here.
Even if you already did it here, if you got your food truck permitted here and it's good to go and I give you a permit, you drive your food truck to Anchorage, it's still
It's
good.
totally different,
You guys
yeah.
want to apply for 5%.
To make you feel better though, you guys only have one delegated authority. In Minnesota, we have 52.
Is it every county? Yeah.
Counties and cities.
Oh.
Absolutely is a nightmare. So we have 2 states, and then ag has 7, and health has 40-something.
Oh.
It's horrible.
It's half of it.
Hey, I want to add to what Amy said about Anchorage and what's going on with the food code. My office is actually getting pinged quite a bit on this now. I would say that there's pretty strong uproar about it, and if you have vendors or do business in Anchorage, that's another thing you want to get aware of, and because it seems pretty everything that I'm getting pinged on sounds pretty draconian. I'm only getting one side of it, but if you're interested about that, you can contact me or even here, and I'll connect you with what I'm hearing, and so you can inform yourself on what's being said and what's going on there. Because you guys, I heard horror stories about Anchorage.
They're more strict than we are.
They are definitely the lettuce cops, and
Yeah.
you do not want to upset them.
No.
I think I lost the guy who got falafel beef.
A lot of the farmers markets I've seen and stuff, and have dog treats now. What are our regulations on those? Honoring. So there's nothing, you can just put anything in a dog treat.
I charge more for it too. There's no labeling requirements, and you charge more.
Yeah,
Because dog owners are crazy.
Dog